Folks, let's not sugarcoat it. The collapse of everyday life in America, it's here. You feel it every time you walk into the grocery store. A cart of basics rings up at $120. That same cart was $70 just a few years ago. You see it at the pump, where gas averages nearly $4 a gallon. You see it in your bills, where car insurance has jumped almost 20% in 1 year. Rent? Forget it. The median rent now takes up nearly 40% of household income. The experts sit on TV and smile about cooling inflation. But you and I know there is nothing cool about paying $16 for a pack of bacon. There is nothing cool about utility bills climbing past $250 for a small apartment. This is not just inflation. This is a full-on extraction of wealth from working families. And here is the raw truth. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. Just not for us. The hidden tax that never ends. Let's cut through the lies. You are being taxed every single day without a single vote in Congress. Inflation is the hidden tax that bleeds you dry. It is not just food and gas. It is literally every bill you pay. In 2019, the average electric bill was about $115 per month. Today, the average hovers around $180, sometimes $200 in most states. In places like California and New York, it easily hits $250 or $300 a month for a modest apartment. That is almost double in just 5 years. And it is not because the power grid got more expensive. It is because utilities are squeezing you with adjustment fees and climate charges that have nothing to do with how much power you use. You pay more, they make more profit, and nobody stops them. This hidden tax hits your car insurance, up 20% nationally in the past year. That is the largest spike since the 1970s. Rent is up 22% higher than before the pandemic. Your dollar is worth less. Your paycheck buys less. Yet you are told inflation is cooling. Cooling for who? For the average family, every single bill is hotter than hell. You are paying thousands more per year just to survive. And once prices go up, they never come back down. This hidden tax is not temporary. It is a permanent wealth transfer. The healthcare mirage. Healthcare in America has crossed into science fiction territory. But it is a dystopia, not a miracle. The average family premium for employer health insurance hit $24,000 per year. Let that sink in. You could buy a brand new car every single year with what Americans spend just on staying insured. And even after paying that, you are not covered. Deductibles have gotten so high, $4,500 on average for families, that millions are skipping care and delaying surgeries. Pharmaceutical companies do not even try to gouge them. A vial of insulin costs $350 or $450 in the US. The exact same medicine sells for $25 in Canada. The excuse is research costs. The reality is price gouging. The average emergency room visit is $2,600 for something as minor as a sprained ankle. Medical debt in the U.S. is over $220 billion, making it the leading cause of bankruptcy. People are dying with GoFundMe campaigns set up in their name, hoping strangers will pay for their life-saving care. This is not a healthcare system. It is a legalized hostage operation where your body is the ransom. You are forced to decide, do I pay rent or do I refill my child's inhaler? That is not freedom. That is collapse. Transportation breakdown. Transportation is the lifeline of everyday life. Without it, you do not get to work and goods do not reach the grocery store. That system is cracking wide open. Car prices are astronomical. The average new car costs $48,000. Even a 5-year-old used car averages $29,000. That is nearly the median U.S. salary. If you can afford the vehicle, good luck keeping it running. Tire prices surged 25% in the last year. Oil changes that used to cost $30 are now pushing $90. Insurance has skyrocketed. Add in gas, and families are spending over $400 a month just to commute. Public transportation, the supposed alternative, is collapsing.
In New York City, the subway runs late over 40% of the time. In Philadelphia, entire bus lines are being canceled because there are not enough drivers. The backbone of supply chains, trucking, has a driver shortage of 80,000. That shortage means empty shelves, delayed shipments, and even higher prices. When a family cannot afford a car, cannot rely on a bus, and cannot pay for fuel, the collapse of daily life is not theoretical. It is here. Job security is gone. Industries from trucking to retail are collapsing under automation and outsourcing. In 2024 alone, U.S. companies announced 720,000 layoffs, the highest since the pandemic. The so-called gig economy that was sold as freedom has turned millions into digital slaves. Uber drivers average $12 an hour after expenses. DoorDashers lose money on gas. Freelancers are trapped in endless cycles of unstable pay with no benefits. For those still clinging to good jobs, the workload has exploded. Employers are squeezing 3 jobs into 1 salary. Burnout levels are hitting 65%. That is not sustainable. It is slow-motion collapse. The promise of retirement? A mirage. 1 in 4 Americans over 60 has no retirement savings at all. Social Security's trust fund is projected to run dry by 2033. You are being told to work until you die and then thank the system for the privilege. Americans are working harder than ever, far more hours than Europe, yet they are falling further behind. That is not an economy. That is slavery with better branding. The collapse of the future. Here is the darkest truth of all.
What is collapsing is not just today's America. It is tomorrow's. For the first time in modern history, polls show that more than 70% of young Americans believe they will be worse off than their parents. And they are right. Student loan debt is $1.7 trillion, trapping an entire generation before they even start. Home ownership is out of reach until the age of 36 on average, if at all. Birth rates have plummeted to the lowest level in 100 years. Not because people do not want families, but because they simply cannot afford them. Young people look ahead and see climate chaos bringing $100 billion disasters every year. They see a political system paralyzed by corruption. They see technology designed not to empower, but to surveil and exploit. The youth are not disillusioned because they are lazy. They are disillusioned because they see the math. They know that no matter how hard they work, the system will bury them in debt, strip them of assets, and force them to live smaller and smaller lives. When an entire generation stops believing in the future, you no longer have a functioning society. You have a countdown clock. America's collapse is not some distant event. It is already unfolding in bank accounts, grocery aisles, ER waiting rooms, and job sites across the country. And the scariest part? This is not accidental. It is engineered. The collapse of everyday life in America is not coming. It is already here, woven into every dollar you spend, every bill you dread opening, every impossible choice between rent, food, and medicine. You know it because you are living it. How much longer can we pretend this is normal? How much longer can we carry the weight while billionaires rocket to space and corporations brag about record profits? Every time your card gets declined, every time you put back groceries to afford gas, every time you stare at your paycheck and realize it is already spent, you are living proof that the American dream has been repossessed. If we keep accepting this, there will not be anything left to fight for. Ask yourself honestly, is this really the future you want for your kids? Or are we finally ready to face the truth head on? Collapse only wins if we let it.